No comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org. Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org
and learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Hey y'all, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday, Milwaukee. We are in the building. You are in the building right now on live with Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio at 860 WNOV, 106.5 FM. We are back with myself and who we got in the building? Go ahead.
Latoya Jenkins. Latoya Jenkins, Director of Organizing and Partnership at Wisconsin Voices.
Joe Dre, Policy Director for Wisconsin Voices.
And myself, Brian Sanders, Lead Organizer at Wisconsin Voices. So I'd like to say good morning to Keon. How you doing, sir?
Morning. It's all right. It's all right.
Man, our week, we had a pretty smooth week compared to last week. We wasn't as busy, but we were still super busy with all the planning and things, organizing, getting things together. I know Latoya been in like 5-6 different areas, different meetings and stuff this week. So I know she been having her plate full and, getting things together for, of course, our Civic 101. If you are interested in Milwaukee and just learning more about your civics and kind of getting tapped back into what you need to know and what's important to you, or what's important not only to your local district or automatic district or county county district, you should definitely tap in with us. We're doing Civics 101 class. We're getting all that together. Be led by Tamika primarily, but it'll be, of course, Latoya and Joe also helping big time with that. Look, you see, I just put myself in there. So how y'all feeling today?
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
Hate the gloomy weather, but feeling pretty good.
Yeah, for a Friday, it's either, it seems like in Milwaukee, it's either you're gonna get that it's gonna be sunshine or no shine, but right. I'll take it. God has given us another day. So
right.
So today we got a few candidates for some automatic positions on today. We got Mr. Peter Bergelis from 11th District Alderman on today. And then I know the second gentleman coming on as well from 6th District, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. If he comes. So
okay.
I'll wait on him calling out names until you
hear. Brian, one other special thing about today is it's International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give a shout out to the women in our office, Latoya, Tamika, Nicole, Angelique, all those women's just promote a lot of leadership within our office and within our organization. Just want to say thank you to all of them.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that, Joe.
We want to shout out the women that's doing great things across the city as well. If you're out there making an impact on our city, and we definitely see you, and we definitely know that is countless people out here trying to make a change in Milwaukee, city of Milwaukee, and the county as well. So thank you for everything that you're doing. If you're contributing to, society, and for you ones that like to sit in the back and work hard without the recognition, we see you too. So thank you as well. We appreciate that. And all of our ancestors that came before us that established, who we are, whether it's in our family or created, so we become successful people in our professional lives. Thank you so much. So, all right, y'all. So what we thinking about for today? as far as Wisconsin Voices, we do got some events going on. You got anything that we need to let the people know about that we getting together outside of Civics 101?
Not at this moment right now. Well, yes. On Thursday, the 28th of March, we're going to do summit with Building Unity to make awareness behind voting, and it'll be 2 days before early voting will be over with. So we're going to ask everybody to come out and support by casting their early vote with us at high noon. So I'll get more information out to you within the next week or so for what location and where we can go. But we're asking people to come out and early vote high noon on the 28th. That's the day before Good Friday.
I guess if I have anything,
please.
Brian, I just want to continue to remind folks that early voting starts March 19th.
Yeah.
Get out there and register, get out and vote early.
Thank you so much.
Do we got any quiz questions for the people today?
Yeah, actually we do. If you are interested in receiving little Wisconsin Voices, what do you call it?
Basket.
Gift bags or swag, as they say. You give us a call at 414-444-5250. Again, it's 414-444-5250. I'm gonna pretty much break it down. Make sure our listeners are listening weekly. Who were two of our guests that we had on this week? Again,
Yes.
Who did we have on? And we had a pretty significant guest on this week. I'm not gonna give out too many hints, but if you were listening, you know who that was. Who was that guest we had on this week? Again, that's 414-444-5250.
Yeah, the two guests. That's nice. That's nice.
Give us two guests that we had on this morning. Hey, y'all, we had a little hiccup on Wednesday, but it was fun. Freestyle a little bit. We just got it going either way. I think just the drive that our boy over here got just to get things done. We got it done either way. That the pantry this week. we didn't have no big boys. We had we brought out the Tonka trucks, but I pull up. Keon was already in the mix. He already getting it going.
This cool when the cavalry come through.
I like when the cavalry come through. I think that was the first time I truly loaded up. I loaded up my last truck pretty heavy when I was helping a friend of mine move some things. Like she was doing some furniture restoration, and I put like a huge wooden file cabinet or metal file cabinet and some things like that. But that was my first time actually in the spreading out a whole bunch of weight in the truck. But it made it work. I ain't had no throwing no toe.
We didn't end up getting a U-Haul, so then we did. How many cars? You had your car?
I had my car too.
So it was 4 cars before the truck pulled up. The Sprinter pulled up. To get the last little bit. But yeah, over 2,800 pounds, 4 cars, and I know it was cool riding in the caravan and pulling up and dumping food.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. A lot of man, listen.
Yeah, I want to thank the county as well for making sure they expedited, their pickup when it comes to getting things picked up after, that busy pantry. So I rode past there last night and I'm like, okay, everything's gone. Make me feel good about your city. Everybody responsive over there. And, of course, I do think that we deserve a couple big garbage cans just because of the work that you put in. It definitely needs.
It's not the season yet. It's not the season yet.
It's not the season for the garbage. The garbage is everywhere. I seen them putting up tons of garbage on the freeway yesterday. You can't tell me it's not the season.
Well, I think they were testing this over there because that park has been shut down before. So this year, because we did so much fussing, and it's cool because last year I had the Milwaukee Parks Foundation in partnership with me.
Yeah.
So they were an advocate also, because it's not the county. The county did say, hey, I thought y'all were the county. It's like, so what? So they literally left the picnic tables and the garbage out there throughout the winter. I think because we were going to see if they took them. Nobody took anything. So, or to still be, so it's really not the season. They just didn't pick anything up. So that's coming up soon. But they usually drop off some bags. But it was cool. I appreciate the folks in the neighborhood, not only the ones that volunteer, but folks in the neighborhood make sure that stuff is picked up and clean.
Yeah.
So they're starting to appreciate the space a little bit more. So shout out to everybody, man. It's a good motion. I might be taking a break for a couple of weeks.
Oh, you gonna take a break?
Right. I'm gonna see if my man
go back a little bit.
My man them hold it down. I said I'm gonna go take a break. I'm gonna see who my leaders are and see if they keep it going.
Yeah.
I gotta fall back for a minute.
No, I mean you out there pretty consistent. You should be able to see who is your your strong second in command. We already know third because we already know who's second. You know what I'm saying? Who really gonna get out there and regulate outside of you? I like I said, it's like a tag team duo. You got your Kobe and Shaq when it comes to the Atkinson Pantry. Brandon and Keon. If one ain't working with the other person who may be a little hostile to say the least, you're gonna have Brandon to come through and Brandon gonna shut it down. And if Brandon is occupied and Keon is occupied, guess who from Wisconsin Voices is gonna make sure?
Toya.
Right. Toya made a few friends and enemies, some frenemies.
You see, I put it on Brandon because my history over there, it was a little different. I wasn't necessarily the A1 day one over there. I was from down the hill. So, but then I end up running with somebody that still show up when things go wrong. So I try to keep my cool. I leave it to the next in line because he's over there now. And you see what I told him the other week? Hey man, you my first in command. They try to fuck with me. I'm like, ask Brandon. I don't want no frustrations, no stress. Because if we get into it, and so I just try to keep it cool, booty.
Hey,
it's frustrating.
I rep the city, so I don't care where we at. I don't care where we at.
Like this, you really have to be there.
Yeah.
Because my man had to go off on his own family members like, Joe,
give me this phone back.
Only one. Only one.
You playing?
You only get one.
Yeah. I'm like, no, you can't, man. That's my auntie. Man, that's my cousin. Man, I'm like, that's why I let you handle that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thank you again.
Thank y'all for your assistance.
Oh yeah, of course. Anytime.
No problem.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Yeah, it's it's for the city, it's for the community.
Feel good.
If we had time to do one at each park, I wouldn't mind it, especially from even off of Lincoln Park where I grew up at, all the way down into more of the central city. Definitely would love to do that. So if there's any opportunities in the future, we can definitely get it going.
Conversations coming up. My goal was always to the parks in the area. So Lindbergh is pretty much taken care of. Old Lindbergh is
okay.
Still Berrien Park now because that's actually a city park next to a county park, and it's on a school. So people take care of that one pretty more than this one. But
Lucille used to live across the street from there, didn't she?
Dig it.
Yeah. I know the city. I know my politicians.
So now we're working towards Garden Homes.
Yeah.
We want to get down to Garden Homes area and expand down Atkinson.
Okay.
Once upon a time, they said Atkinson used to be the village from the freeway to 32nd Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
It did. It did. So I'm glad we doing our thing, taking care of the community, and I can't do nothing but get love to y'all. Oh yeah, he here, so you can shout him out too to be Nick. I mean not Nick, but Peter.
Okay.
So we're gonna take a break, but we gonna give you the number 414-444-5250. We need somebody to call in and give us two of our guests that was here this week. We would love to give out some of our Wisconsin Voices swag, but we're gonna take a break right now. You're listening to Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice on WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM.
Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org. Wisconsin Voices 3 pillars: protecting democracy, teaching advocacy, building community.
You're listening to WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.
You are now listening to Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio.
Good morning. Welcome back to 860 AM, WNOV 860 AM on 6.5 FM, BA Voice Radio with Wisconsin Voices. We got our first interview guest today, Mr. Peter Bergelis. Did I get that right, sir?
Close enough.
Close
Close
enough.
enough. People
All
call
right.
me all sorts of names. It's fine.
I'm real big on making sure I get people's names right. It's just the way I show my respect for just bring you in. I just want to see. I see that you're going for 11th district alderman. I would love to hear first, before we get into the questions about what do you see for the district. What is an alderman? And this is going off of Tamika's. What does an alderman do?
Yeah, well, an alderman answers a lot of phone calls and hears a lot of complaints. But an alderperson is your legislative representative to city government. City government impacts people's lives a whole lot more than the county government would, or frankly, state government, even federal. If your trash doesn't get picked up, that's a big deal. If your snow doesn't get plowed, you can't get to work. That's a big deal. And when either of those things happen, or your street light goes out, you call your alderman and make sure that those things get fixed.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So who wants to get started with Mr. Burke? Look, Joe look like he got some questions. Go ahead, Joe. Bring it in.
Kind of the political director here. Just, we're getting down to it here and really getting into the election. So what sets you apart from the other candidates? What's kind of your platform here? What are your major issues? And not so much what are the problems, but how are you going to solve them?
Sure. Thanks for that question. I'm just wrapping up my first term as a county supervisor representing the 15th district, which stretches from 43rd and Howard up to 47th and Lisbon. It's a great diverse district, a great representation of the diversity of Milwaukee County. And I'm proud of my record there. I'm proud of the budget we just passed. We've gotten a lot done, and I'm proud of that work. But I know I can do a whole lot more for my community from City Hall. Alder is a much higher position, and you're much more impactful to your community and your district. What do I see as priorities? Public safety is always number one. From knocking thousands of doors and having hundreds of conversations with residents, I've never heard one person ask me to defund anything. Right? People care about what their community looks like, what their streets feel like, and want to have safe neighborhoods. It doesn't matter if you're on the north side or the south side. Everyone wants the same thing for their community, and that's something that a lot of people miss. There's no north side, south side. We're all Milwaukee. It's important to care about what happens in your neighborhood and your district, but you can't turn a blind eye to what's going on in the rest of the city, because when other districts and other neighborhoods improve, the entire city gets better.
Okay. Awesome.
All right, thank you. So I hear that prioritizing public safety, and I'm looking at the first responders. Do you feel in Milwaukee that there is a need for more precincts in certain areas, or more firehouses? And I may stepping over my boundaries when I'm asking this question, but I look at some of the areas on the far northwest side. District 4, I think, is the one that's the furthest as far as a precinct on the northwest side. And this may not be a question that that you may be interested in too much, but with the public safety is one of your top priorities. Do you feel that our city needs more, maybe firehouses or precincts?
Yeah, I'm not the right person to answer that. I'll leave that to the experts, to the fire chief and the police chief. But what I do know is that I went through the Citizens Academy for Milwaukee Police Department a couple of years ago, and District 4 from one end to the other is 17 minutes running hot,
really,
which can be a problem if you're the only available unit and there's an emergency on the other side of the district. It takes you 17 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
Lights and sirens. That doesn't seem like the best opportunity for public safety. In terms of should we open up more, if we do need to do that, we have a great opportunity now. In fact, Milwaukee's reopened 2 firehouses just in the last year. One in my district on 30th Street, another one down by the airport off of Layton.
Okay.
We added another med unit for the fire department. None of that would have been possible if we hadn't been able to fix shared revenue from the state. Shared revenue is money that municipalities get back from state government so that they can provide services to their residents. Milwaukee County get most of the a lot more shared revenue than other municipalities across the state. But they provide a lot more services than any other municipality across the state of Wisconsin. And frankly, Milwaukee County is the economic engine of the state of Wisconsin, and provides more tax revenue to the state than any other part of Wisconsin. So we should get more back. But the formulas and the amount of money that the state has given back to Milwaukee and Milwaukee County together has been frozen since 2005. Think back to what milk cost in 2005 and what it costs now. Think about what your own wages were 19 years ago and what you're making now. Milwaukee County has had to cut thousands of staff people, cut services, and tighten the belt year after year after year after year. You can do that for a little while, right? And trim the fat, but it gets old and it gets to be impossible to do that. Cutting $30 million of your budget every single year just to break even. We don't have an opportunity. The county doesn't have an opportunity to run a deficit. We have to balance our budget, and it's been very difficult to do that for a very long time. With the change in shared revenue, it's now indexed to inflation, so we won't have these ongoing problems moving forward. But we've still been strangled, and that's why the legislature allowed Milwaukee the option to change sales tax. Sales tax is painful for everybody. I get it, but frankly, we've been relying on property taxes to balance our budget year after year after year on the backs of homeowners. And sales tax, the nice thing about sales tax is that 30% of that revenue comes from people outside of Milwaukee County. It's like having someone from Waukesha. Well, let's not talk about Waukesha. It's like having someone from Illinois pay 30% of your property taxes. Sound good? Sign me up, right? But sales tax allows everyone who comes to Milwaukee to and enjoys all the great things about Milwaukee to help participate in the cost. I think that's very fair. And Milwaukee County was able to cut property taxes for the very first time since 1992. Now, it wasn't a whole lot. It was about $100 a house on average. But given the change in sales tax, I thought it was really important to give something back to homeowners for a change. And we got it done. But I'm running for alderman now, and I'll bring that same passion for public service to City Hall so that I can represent the entire 11th district.
Tell us a little bit about you, your family, yourself, so people would get to know you.
Thank you. I grew up in Wauwatosa, went to Marquette High. The last time we had a polar vortex is when I was deciding on where to go to college. So I went to college out east in Washington, D.C. And sophomore year, I was a White House intern for President Clinton.
Wow.
And enjoyed that a lot. Enjoyed that too much probably, and never went to class and didn't do so well. So I came back after that semester, but I don't regret it at all. Back in the fall of 1997, that's when Janet Reno and President Clinton had the White House Conference on Hate Crimes. That's when President Clinton celebrated the 40th anniversary of the Little Rock Nine, and I worked on all of those projects and a number of others. But incredible stories. A lot of them I'll have to tell you off the air. But if you ever want to pick my brain, let's get a beer and I'll tell you all about it.
I'm all for that. I'm definitely for that. That's my speed.
But after that, I ran a nonprofit cultural center. I'm Latvian. I'm first generation. Parents came over from Latvia after World War II as kids. And I ran the largest Latvian nonprofit cultural center outside of Latvia, which is in Southwest Michigan, from 1999 to 2003. Feel like I gave back to my community a whole lot, improved fundraising and facilities, and got that organization moving forward. And they've grown and improved even more since then. Moved to Louisville, opened a restaurant with a couple buddies, left that a couple of years later and started selling mortgages. I've been a mortgage lender for the last 20 years. I enjoy my career. I feel like I'm good at it, but it gives me a lot of satisfaction. Because when you get to see someone hand over the keys and someone get their keys in their hand for their first house, that's a really good feeling.
Yeah.
And and that's what's kept me in that profession for a long time. but I help one family at a time. And I know I can do a whole lot more for many families, more than one at a time from City Hall.
I like that. I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So just kind of following up, I think we're going into just more of who you are and maybe some things that you've taken from your past that you bring to Milwaukee and in this automatic position or into this new position. What are some of the skill sets that you've acquired working in, you for DC, working in a administration or working as an intern administration, like the Clinton administration, or just your experiences working for the Lafayette, is it Lafayette nonprofit in Michigan? Yeah, and yeah, even county supervisor. What do you feel that you'll be bringing, or what a refreshing view to the individuals in your district that you'll be serving?
I think what it comes down to is getting creative and being able to solve problems. There's no magic wand solution for transit safety security, for street lights that always break and don't can't ever get fixed. But if you're ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into the problems, help come up with creative solutions, and encourage that conversation, because one person's never going to have all the right ideas. And if everybody agrees on how to fix something without any kind of consideration or discussion, there's probably a problem and it's not going to be the best solution. I've earned a reputation on the county board of asking the right questions, asking hard questions of the department, holding the department heads accountable for what they commit to do, and ensuring that our taxpayer dollars are invested wisely in our community. We're doing the right thing that's going to make a difference, and then at the same time making sure that people know what's going on. We had a entire task force last year for transit safety and security. We met 6 or 7 times and came up with a long list of recommendations, many of which were instituted immediately by Milwaukee County Transit. And I drew off of my experience riding the bus, going to Longfellow Middle School or Marquette High almost every day. Whenever I couldn't hitch a ride with my older sister or my mom, I'd take the bus. And riding transit back then gave me a good idea of what transit was, how important it is to the community. It's not just to get to work or to get to school, but it's to get to the lakefront or get to the store or get to the mall. That things like that are incredibly important to so many people in our community, and we can't forget that when we're making policy decisions on where our budget priorities are.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think being able to move freely throughout the city, it brings them, when they don't have a vehicle, it brings them so much peace, because like you said, so many people do use it to get to their recreational activities. Latoya, so you had a question?
Yes, I want to ask you. You're running for alderman in the 11th district, so I'm sure you knock doors over there and you're talking to the
Right.
people. This is something I'm very advocate about. What are you hearing the people in that community say they want to see? What they want to see done in their community? What is their biggest issues that jump out to you?
Yeah, a lot of people are concerned about taxes, right? and I'm happy to have that conversation about property taxes and sales tax and the difference. But most people understand that if you want something from your government, you have to be ready to help participate in the cost.
Mhm.
And that's a realistic expectation that's frankly refreshing. The most common concerns I have are potholes in the road, not enough police driving through the neighborhood and patrolling, and streetlights not working. Well, the city's using ARPA money, $7-8 million to update and upgrade street lighting throughout the city. Scott Spiker's district over by the southeast side by the airport has the most problems, and the 11th aldermanic district is the second. It may just be how old that infrastructure is, but that's a real concern, because if your neighborhood's dark, that's a safety concern, right?
Mhm.
If you never see a police officer in your neighborhood, are they even there? Yeah, they are. You're not always going to see them. You don't look out your window all day long, but that public perception of safety is incredibly important, not just actually being safe. Violent crime in the city is down 30%, right? Property crime is up slightly from last year, but the 6th District does a very good job of protecting the southwest side of Milwaukee.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Joe.
Yeah.
You got anything for Peter before we get up out of here? I know we got a break coming up soon. I want to make sure that we get everything that we need to ask this gentleman.
Yeah. We had talked about public safety, and obviously there was an incident not too long ago where, with the EMS service, with a lady that had fallen there. They couldn't find her. Maybe just your take on that. What are how can we make that service better? How can we make sure that everyone in our community is being served and that mistakes and things like that don't happen again?
Yeah, incredibly unfortunate. And that shouldn't ever have happened. What happened after the fact, I think, was a good model on how government tries to do the right thing and tries to improve when tragedy happens. Chief Lipsky was on the ball right away and called for a change in policy to the ambulance board, and the Common Council changed policy right away to ensure that something like that never happens again. Government doesn't always move slowly. Sometimes you can get the right thing done without dragging your feet or getting wound up in red tape. And that tragedy is a great example of how government was able to react quickly to avoid that problem.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer.
All right. Just one more question. When it comes to the leadership and strong leadership in Milwaukee, what does that look like for you?
Strong leadership? I think it's recognizing that Milwaukee is a great place, and we do attract a lot of great people to our community. We're diverse. We have issues with equity, and from the county's standpoint, the city, we're working on that. Is it going to be fixed in a year or 10 years? Probably not, but we're moving forward with it. When we have strong leadership, we have people that are willing to do the work, recognize problems, accept them, and work to find solutions. It's never going to be there's never going to be a magic wand for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can take 2 baby steps this year and another baby step next year, maybe we'll get to take 4 the year after that. Right. And we'll slowly get to make our community even stronger every year and a little bit better every year moving forward.
Thank you. Appreciate that. 414-444-5250. If you have any calls, Mr. Peter Bergelis. I got to get this right, sir.
Bergelis.
Okay, Bergelis. I'm sorry. Excuse me. 414-444-5250. If you have any questions for Mr. Peter Bergelis. All right. Outside of that, let's get back into any other questions for Peter. Keon, you always come over from the other side, and you always got great questions. You got anything? I don't want to take all the shine. Oh, we got a caller?
That was quick.
Let's go ahead. Caller, you on the air?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would just like to ask our candidate a couple of questions. Number one, just what was his personal feelings on the 15% pay raise for the alderpersons and the mayor?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Even as a county board supervisor, people say that the job's part-time. I'd argue that the pay is part-time. And the job is as much as you want to do for your community or as little as your constituents let you get away with. Alder is certainly a full-time position, and it's been a long time since there's been an increase. I ran not for this position, not expecting any kind of a pay raise. It's tough to swallow, especially right after we raised property taxes. I don't know how I would have voted. I probably would not have supported that pay increase for elected officials. For department heads, that's a different story because department heads are the brains of of the city's operations. And if we can't attract good people to lead our departments, you do that with good pay, then the city isn't in as good of a place as it could be. People who run for public office don't do it for the money. They do it to make their community better. So it doesn't matter if you get paid $27,000 as a county supervisor or 73 or whatever it's going to be now as an alder. You're there to make a difference. And if I wanted to make money, I wouldn't be knocking doors and running for office.
Okay, you said like for department heads, I understand that part. But let me ask this question: what about the people that are doing the work, like the boots on the ground? And I said it as a retired sanitation worker. I think it was a slap in the face to give those guys a 2 to 3% raise, and then we want to give our elected officials a 15% raise. I don't think that was fair at all. So my question to you is, yes or no? Do you feel it was fair, yes or no?
Fair to give electeds a bigger raise than front of the line employees?
You think a 15% raise was
absolutely
fair?
Not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
But
now
pay disparity is a problem, and it's impacting staffing levels in municipal government, not just in Milwaukee, the city, not just in Milwaukee County, but across the country. Correctional officer pay, something that I worked on the county. I got together with Supervisor Patty Logsdon, a conservative, someone who I don't always agree with, but we both understood that public safety is important. Met with the sheriff and said, hey, what do you need? We have a 40% vacancy rate in the jail. People are dying in the jail. There's no visitation anymore. Judges are sitting and waiting for people to come to their court appearances because there are not enough people to bring people from the jail over to the courthouse.
When you say not enough people,
it's clogging the system. So for correctional officer pay, I asked the sheriff, what do you need? And she and her leadership team answered $34 an hour. They're making $33 an hour across the street at the prison. We need to be competitive to get our staffing levels right. At the time, correctional officers were making $26 an hour. You could make better pay at Amazon, frankly. And these are supposed to be people that are in an incredibly important position in our community to make sure that people are safe and that the wheels of justice move forward. Through the budget process, there was a lot of discussion. We settled it at $30 an hour to start. And now we have a 13% vacancy rate in the jail. Just a few months later, there were 14 sheriff's deputies that were temporarily, permanently reassigned to the jail to cover shifts. Those 14 deputies are going to be back on the street, back on the highways and in our parks, protecting our community instead of covering shifts in the jail. That's going to happen mid-March. So fixing pay for frontline workers is absolutely essential, not just in correctional officers, not just at the airport for maintenance workers, but if we expect to get results from our government, for municipal services, we have to be ready to give departments and department heads the tools and resources they need to do their jobs well. Right now, one of my constituents is a manager in electrical services, the people that are fixing streetlights in the city of Milwaukee. And I asked him, well, come on, what's going on? This is one of my top issues, and it seems kind of like a no-brainer. We should be upgrading and getting these streetlights fixed. He said, well, I can't keep enough people on my team. Why not? Because they can make twice as much out in the private sector as an electrician than they can working for the city. Well, that's a big issue. If we can't keep people in positions for that essential work that makes our government provide services, that allows our government to provide services to our constituents, we're prioritizing the wrong things. We have to get down to the basics and do the basics for municipal services well first. Fund those, do them really well. Then we can worry about all the extra stuff.
And,
okay, I have one more question
your
for
question, James? Okay.
Yes, I have one more question. So this is the second part of the question. What are your feelings in regards to going back to the table and addressing the residency clause for City of Milwaukee workers, because that's a pretty large tax base too as well that could be here in the city as versus to being wherever they're living at now outside the city of Milwaukee?
Great question.
Yeah, it's tough when you're protecting your community or serving your community as a municipal worker and you don't live there. Do you have the same level of buy-in if you live somewhere out west or outside of the community you work in? I don't think you do. Not to say that you're not going to do a good job and put in a fair day's work, but if you're putting your efforts and your sweat equity into a community where you don't live, it doesn't have the same impact, no matter what you want to say.
Mhm.
It's unfortunate that that the residency requirement was taken away from us. I think the city should be lobbying to try to correct that at the state level. The legislature has to correct that for us. That's not something that we can do locally.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a good day, and thank you for calling and asking some amazing questions.
And you as well, thank you.
hmm So, thank you so much for coming on and letting us know about you, your candidacy, what you want to see improved in the community. We have one more caller. I'm gonna go ahead, Keon. You're on the air.
Hi, I'm on the air now.
Yes, you are.
Okay, I have a question for the caller. I mean, for the gentleman that's speaking.
I'm ready.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm listening on the radio on my laptop, and I must have a delayed thing. First of all, do you have anybody else running against you?
Yeah. So I just wrapped up a primary. There were two other people running for the same seat. So we had a primary on February 20th, and I came away from the primary with almost 53% of the vote. And so now the general election, April 2nd, I have one opponent, and we're moving forward. But I'll be on the ballot along with the mayor, the county executive, county supervisors, and a number of judges as well. So that's the spring municipal election. It's nonpartisan, April 2nd. Early voting actually starts next week already.
March 19th.
Okay, great. Thank you for answering that. And secondly, I'll just say this. How do you feel about, I'll ask you, how do you feel about the referendum that's on the ballot for increasing the money available for the public schools to increase their budget?
Yeah, that is a very big increase that MPS is asking for. It's unfortunate that there are dozens and dozens of referendums across the state of Wisconsin where schools and school districts are desperate for funding just to keep the same level of service.
Yes.
And in our case in Milwaukee, that's a big ask that MPS is giving us. It's hard.
Quite a bit. It's quite a bit.
I always want to support schools. I want to support teachers.
Yeah.
I think public education is the key to a strong community, but that's a lot of money. And I frankly, I don't know yet how I would vote on that. April 2nd, I have another week to consider it before I go vote early, but it's expensive. And, sometimes some people, say, I don't care. I want my taxes lower. I get that. But then you have to ask how tall of a fence they're going to build. What?
Right.
How tall of a fence are you going to build around your home? Because if we don't fund our schools, we're going to have even more problems in our community.
I agree. It is a large amount that they're asking, but I do believe I'm probably going to vote yes, because I can see in the future this is going to be needed. Anyway, sir, thank you so much for answering my questions, and I wish you the best. If I was in your district, I would be voting for you, but I'm not. But I wish you the best on April 2nd. God bless you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for your support.
Thank you for your call.
And Peter, how can people from your district get in contact, or anybody would get in contact with you? What's the best way to do that?
You can call me. You can email me. You can yell. If I hear it, I'll answer. But my website is Peter for Milwaukee, peterformke.com. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as well. All of those same, Peter for Milwaukee.
All right. Well, thank you.
And you can also find them on the ballot.
So again, we do want to thank you for coming through, and we appreciate you for taking your time today. Again, we have Mr. Peter Bergelis. Get it right this time? No.
Regardless, but
Bergelis. Why I'm struggling with Bergelis?
it's all right.
Yeah, it's the GEL that's giving me. Peter Bergelis, thank you so much for coming through. We're on 860 WNOV, 106.5 FM, via Voice Radio with Wisconsin Voices.
You're listening to WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're back on at 860 WNOV, 106.5 FM, via Voice Radio with Wisconsin Voices. I'm Brian Sanders. We have Latoya and Joe in here. And also, we have our next guest. Your name, sir?
Brandon Payton.
All right, Brandon. All right. So when we get this thing started, we always like to ask our individuals that's coming through. What is, and you're going for alderman, correct?
Yeah, 6th District Alderman.
6th District Alderman. What does an alderman do?
Well, if you basically, an alderman is a supervisor of a community. Any issue that you're having with public services, zoning, licensing of different things of your community, you go through your alderman.
Okay. All right. So, political guy, Joe. I'll go ahead
and ask you the same question we just asked the last guest.
Thank you, sir.
What do you see as the major issue facing your district? Not only, what are those challenges, but what's your solutions? How do you plan on solving those challenges?
Well, the major issues that's in my district is crime. And to help with that, we have to be more vigilant as far as a community to work together to try to prevent things before it happens. We can't always depend on the police because a lot of times they come after things is over with, done, everybody's gone about their way. So we as a people and a community, we have to come together and come with innovative ways to stop problems before it happens. I tell people all the time, like, you might have a cousin that you know is going to fly off the deep end, but your sister can stop them from doing something wrong. You got to get your sister there before they do it to stop them. So I say that to say that as a community, I want to increase community involvement when it comes to crime. We can't count on the police all the time. We have to count on each other. So therefore, I just encourage the community to bring each other together and lift each other up. Then, and also we have to deal with the economic struggle that we're going through because a lot of crime is coming from that.
How do we get more opportunities to people in your district? I see, you talk a little bit about community involvement, economic development, and that sort of thing. I have a little bit of an economic development background myself. So how do we lift the community up by providing opportunities to folks in your district?
So we have to bring more businesses and opportunities to our community. Not necessarily in the public sector, but private sector also. In my area, which we're actually sitting in the 6th district, you see the struggle of a lot of people not able to get a job. There's jobs available, but they're not paying a living wage. Oh, sorry about that. They're not paying a living wage. So we have to bring businesses to the area that can help a family to be able to survive in our current economic times. And 6th district is lacking that, because you have to go way out of the way sometimes to even be able to get a job that is paying you enough. And so you end up paying, if you don't have a vehicle, you paying your paycheck just to get to work. So 6th district needs those businesses in the community that's actually providing a living wage. And with that, a lot of other things that are going wrong with 6th district will basically, it'll start subsiding.
Okay. If I was a business owner and I was looking to open up a business in District 6, what would entice me about as far as your platform goes? What are some of the initiatives that you want to take that would entice me as a business owner to invest in your community?
Something that's always been happening. Businesses get tax breaks to come to the area. Yeah, we just went up on taxes, but I didn't have no parts in that. But we just went up on taxes, but to draw the businesses to the area, you have to give them an incentive. Tax breaks is only one way, but those are areas that have to be you would have to basically do it on a case-by-case basis. It may be prime location. Like I said, case by case. You have to really research the type of business first off, and what kind of services they're providing. Then that's how you can go about what can bring them to the area, basically.
I'm hogging all the time here, guys. If
That's
you
okay.
guys,
Yeah, that's
have
cool. I'll
anything,
come in
go
real
right
quick.
ahead.
I got two real quick, and I know we got about 7 minutes or less. I'm big on, because we work right like smack dab in this area, and I'm driving over here all the time, just like my two coworkers as well. I see you're big on the community cleanup, and I am really big on more cleanups for this area as well, because we see what the summer brings and what the change brings with the trash and the people. How often would you like to see community cleanups, or how often would you like to get those going through your time as 6th district?
I would actually like to see it at least once a month, and I'm not saying just a neighborhood. I would like to see a district day to clean up, and within those cleanups, it brings camaraderie.
Yeah,
because I'm along beside somebody that I might have not known yesterday, and we're accomplishing a goal together. So, like I said, it builds camaraderie, which camaraderie builds a better district, a better community, better neighborhoods, and that's what we need.
All right. So what about branding the family, man? Just a quick question, but who are you, and why, as the people that are listening, because I know a lot of viewers or listeners are in this area, who is Brandon Payton the man outside of his political run and things you got going on in your professional life? Who are you as the man?
You let my children tell it. I'm the strictest parent.
Yeah.
But I've been with my wife. We've been married now going on 5 years. This year, May will be 5 years. We've been together on and off for 20 years.
Okay.
I have 4 children, 2 biological, 2 non-biological, but they're my children. I've raised them since birth. I'm just an all-around friend, family member, and a guy who loves his community. And I'm just like most people in my district. Well, I used to be exactly like them, but now I still have some of the same ways of most of the people in my district. The only difference is now I'm more conscious and awoke to the ills that we are experiencing with current leadership.
Mhm.
So, and I am a leader. You know, I'm a guy who got tired and said I was gonna do something to bring my community back up, because I've always have given myself to everybody, and living in my community, I saw and see every day the struggles we go through, and for me, having the heart that I have and wanting to see better, that's what made me run too. You know, I decided I needed help.
Yeah.
And so I chose to run for alderman because I need help with making our community better, taking it back to the heyday of when your children was able to go outside and play and it was safe.
Absolutely. We got time for one quick caller. If anybody wants to come in and call in and ask Brandon a quick question, Mr. Payton, 414-444-5250. Again, 414-444-5250.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Like the last caller asked the last candidate that was running. They raised property taxes, and then they gave theirself a 15% raise, but the average smaller worker in the city, they gave a 2 to 3% raise. How do you feel about that?
I am a worker. I work 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a real laborer.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that was a slap in the face.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to give a 15% raise, that should have went to that laborer. It should have been if so. I do understand that common council members and department heads hadn't had a raise either. But if that's the case,
Split it.
not even split it, flip flop that. Give yourself the 2% raise because you're not doing all the work. Give those who are actually having to roll up their sleeves and getting their hands dirty, you give it to them. We're as a department head, as a leader in the common council, as a mayor, you're making the most money, but honestly, you're sitting back and making decisions. It's not really a hard job. The hard jobs is in the trenches. It's the dirty job that nobody wants to do. Those are the hard jobs. So give it to the people who are willing to do those jobs. Them the ones who deserve that money. They deserve the raises because they're doing the job that you don't want to. And as me being a laborer, I've been a business owner also, but being a laborer by me loving that type of work, I love to work with my hands. So being a laborer, I have a soft spot for the laborer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate that. Any lasting thoughts or anything from you, Mr. Payton? Anything to say to the people? About 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
I'll just say I am a man of the community. I'm a man for the community. And come April 2nd, get out and vote. If you don't get out next week on the 13th and start voting area early.
The 19th.
That's not next week. That's the week after. But unless you get out and vote earlier.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Again, I do want to thank our two candidates for coming in today. And of course, I want to thank Latoya and Joe for coming in, and Keon for holding it down, and Carvey for holding it down as well. You are with BA Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Happy Friday to everybody, and God bless.
No Monday.
WNOV 860 and W293CX.